All right, guys, we're going to keep looking into or go a little bit deeper into transversal and parallel lines. But we're going to eventually include algebra, because remember what I told you. The geometry portion is what we did in the last video, but what they're going to do is, of course, bring algebra into what you already know. So just a quick recap, just to make sure we're still okay. Angle, special angle relationships. From here to here, what is it called? Good, vertical. From here, this red one, to this next red one, what's that called? Interior, because it's inside, very good. And alternate. All right. Let's do from this blue one to this blue one. What's that called? Good, corresponding. This blue one to this red one. All right, it's on the same side of the transversal, but outside, right? Same side, but outside. So exterior, same side, also known as consecutive. All right, what else have I missed? Oh, let's do this one and this one. All right, still on the same side, but inside the house. So interior consecutive or interior same side. How about this red one and this one out here? All right, on opposite sides of your transversal. All right, on opposite side, but they're on outside the house. So exterior alternate angles. All right, so that's just a quick, oh, one more. If I did this, just these two, what's that? It's called a linear pair. And what do we know about linear pairs? Linear pairs are supplementary. All right, look at this. These two, again, it's still a linear pair. They're supplementary. Okay, so anywhere where you could draw a straight line and you have the angles connecting, forming a straight line is called a linear pair. All right, so that's just a quick recap on your definitions. Today we're going to really look into how algebra plays into part. Now, I've already told you, if you weren't here, all angle pairs are congruent. What does congruent mean again? It means the same. All angle pairs are congruent, except linear pairs. And remember, linear pairs are the angles that form a straight line. So that's a linear pair. So everything is congruent except that, and anything consecutive or same side. So anything consecutive or same side is not congruent. However, these two things, linear pair and consecutive, they add up to 180. Okay, so whatever those measures are, they add up to 180. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's do a quick example. Let's say that this right here, this angle right here is 60 degrees. I can actually have you find every single one. So let's see if we could do it together. All right, let's say from here to here, if this is 60, what's this? Okay, very good. This is also 60 degrees. And why? What's the reason that I know that those two are equal? All right, very good. They're vertical. Okay, very good. Vertical. If this is 60, how can I find that blue one? All right, I'll give you a quick hint. If I go and put a ruler like that, what am I really telling you? See, there's my half semicircle. All right, so we know that that is equal to what? 180. And so if part of it is 60, what does this have to be in order for the whole thing to be equal to 180? Very good. It has to be 120. Now from here, you could go very, very many different ways. You could go from here to here, which is what? Also 120. And what's the reason? Because they're vertical. You could go from here, okay, this 120 right here to here. What is that one equal to? That one's also equal to 120. And why? Why is it from here to here that it's equal to 120? Because it's corresponding. Remember, everything is congruent except linear pairs and consecutive, anything that's consecutive, same side. So if that's 120, vertical, that's 120. We could do alternate interior, see my Z? Alternate interior, so this and this is the same. You could do corresponding with here. There are thousands of ways that you could look at it. You could do linear pair again. This and this have to equal 180. And so basically you have it all labeled like that. Very, 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 very simple. Okay, so remember, all angle pairs are congruent except linear pairs and consecutive same side. So let's take a look at it. Vertical, is that congruent? Yes, it is. Alternate interior, is that congruent? Yes, it is. Exterior alternate, is that congruent? Yes, it is. Linear pair, is that congruent? No. And look at that, it adds up to 180. Anything consecutive, let's look at consecutive interior. So inside my house, same side, consecutive, is that congruent? No, but notice they add up to 180. Same thing over here. If you look at exterior, same thing. Anything consecutive adds up to 180. Perfect. Now let's take a look at how this is going to play into algebra. So what I actually want you to do is in your notes, you're going to write the following down. You don't have to copy any of this down, but the following is what you need to write down. Whenever you're doing anything with, you're going to put a title, transversal, and parallel lines with algebra. Whenever you're doing that, what I want you to do is ask yourself these, or do these 5 things. Okay, so number 1, so I need you to write this down. Number 1, I need you to say, or to ask yourself, what is the relationship? What is the relationship? Okay, in other words, is it vertical? Is it corresponding? Is it interior alternate? Is it interior same side or exterior consecutive? What is the relationship? Okay, so once you answer that question, you then ask, once I know the relationship, is it congruent or supplementary? Supplementary. Is it congruent or supplementary? Remember, what does the word congruent mean? Congruent means the same. In other words, equal. What does the word supplementary mean? It means that you're going to add them, whatever it is, add them together, and they're going to give you 180. All right, so once you know what it is, ask yourself, is it congruent or supplementary? All right, the third thing you're going to do is you're going to set up the equation. And I'm going to walk you through this with an example in just a second. Set up the equation, okay? The fourth thing, solve it. And finally, always, 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 always check your answer. Please don't come and ask me if it's correct, because the only thing I'm going to ask you is, did you check your answer? Did your answer make sense? So these 5 things is what we're going to really focus on in the next couple of days. All right, so let's take a look at an example as to what I mean when I say ask yourself these 5 things. So I'm going to leave this where you can kind of see it. Then I'm going to give you, I gave you one of these printouts. So you're looking for the one that says 8x, I'm sorry, plus, I think that's 4. I hope that's 4. It might be 9 or 4, I'm not sure. And then 9x minus 3. The first thing we asked is, what is the relationship? So I need to know, what is the relationship between the 2 angles where there has numbers or variables? So I'm asking, what is the relationship between these 2 angles right here? Okay, so first things first, you need to find a house. Okay, so a house is made out of what? My 2 parallel lines, right? Do you see my 2 parallel lines right here? All right, so here's my house. All right, here's my house. Here's the line going through my house. So really what they're doing is they're trying to confuse you with this line right here. Okay, if I block that for you, what will you say the relationship is between these 2 angles? I'll give you a second just to look at it. Or if you want, I can even turn the paper around like that. I don't know if that's easier for you to see. What's the relationship between these 2 angles? First, are they inside or outside my house? Outside. Okay, so they're exterior. And then, on what side of the transversal? On alternate sides of the transversal. Very good. So I know that these are exterior alternate sides. What do we know about exterior alternate sides? Remember, everything is congruent except linear pair and consecutive angles. So what can you tell me about these 2? Are they congruent or supplementary? They're congruent. What does congruent mean? Congruent means that they are equal to each other. So once I said, what's the relationship? I asked, is it congruent or supplementary? I found out in this example, it is congruent. So then I set up, I'm going to put them equal to each other. So I'm going to set up the equation. So I don't know if that's a 9. I think it's a 9. So let's go 8x plus 9. So this is equal to this, which is 9x minus 3. Set up the equation. 4 is to solve it. So just simply solve the equation. I'm going to take the x to this side. So it's going to be minus x Take the negative 3 to this side, so it's going to be plus 3. That goes away. All right, so then I have 9 plus 3, and that's going to give me 12. Okay, and then 9x minus 8x, which is going to give me 1x. So x equals 12. Now, after I solve it, I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to check my answer real quick. Did my answer make sense? So I'm going to plug my answer back into the equation. So x is 12. I'm going to put it back here. So I had 8 times x, and x is 12. 8 times 12 plus 9. And on this side, I had 9 times 12 minus 3. And we're going to see if they are indeed equal to each other. If they are equal to each other, I did it correctly. If they're not, then I need to look up my work once again. Okay, so 8 times 12 is going to be 96. 96 plus 9 is going to give me 105. Then on this side, I have 9 times 12, which is going to give me 108. 108 minus 3 is also going to give me 105. Look at that. They're equal to each other. Remember, we said that these angles are equal to each other because they're not consecutive or linear pair. So I must have done this correctly. I got the answer is x equals 12. Now, be very, very mindful of this because the EOC is big on doing this. You have to go back and read the question and see what they were asking for. In this case, I didn't tell you find x or anything like that, but if they said find this angle, you would have to punch it back into this angle. So we actually, by checking our answer, we found this angle, which is 105, and this angle right here is also 105. Okay, they're both 105 degrees. So just be mindful as to whether they're asking for x or for the angle. Okay, so again, if you didn't understand this, go ahead and rewind and watch the steps. I'm just going to move on with another example. Okay, and hopefully after